Hello everyone, we're going to start right off with some ink bleeds today, and before I got on with the video clip I wet this piece of paper. I'm just dropping in black ink, just Indie ink, and you can see how the bleeds start to work with the water. This is something you should definitely do if you've never tried it before. You can use it with acrylic, watered down acrylic or colored ink. Here I'm dropping down just a black stripe of ink, and I'm going to go to my water bottle, and the spray kind of lends these spidery webs coming out in the bleeds. You can also directly spray into wet. It also brings some really interesting effects. And here's what it looks like after it has dried a bit, and it still retains a lot of the different interesting thin, thick, and intermediate lines that result from the spray bottle and water. I guess what inspired this piece today is just the news we're watching every day. It seems extremely chaotic across the entire world. So it kind of led me to believe that I need to do some kind of response. I definitely respond to what I see around me. And I decided to do a figure study, but I wanted to do it over top of kind of the chaotic marks I've just made. The world is in a steep population decline, and that seems to be happening worldwide, some places worse than others. But I'm thinking about that as I draw these figures on this sheet of paper. This is how I get ideas. A lot of times it's things from around me, things that I hear, and I've covered that in previous videos. But the news can be a great source of image making. As I draw this, I realize how many things are truly out of our control in our everyday life. And that's the reason I go into my studio sometimes, to kind of heal myself in that way. There's a lot of stresses out there, and you can't watch too much of the news or it will start to leave a negative impact. So that's when I go back to the studio and kind of process some of the things I've heard or seen, and that seems to help quite a bit. I feel the population decline issue that led me to start this image is something that's not really covered by the media that much. You hear about it in a lot of geopolitical commentary online, but the national media generally says certain things about it, but not perhaps like it should. So, some of the concerns of this is that if we do decline so much, what will happen to our social systems? That's happening in a lot of the parts of the world right now. So that kind of led me to believe, with these figures, kind of falling and being in a kind of a chaotic backdrop. Okay, I'm going to transition now. I've got the drawing complete, and now I'm going to go back in with water, and I've been using a crayola marker as I've drawn this, and that's water-based, so of course when I put the water on it will give a bleed as well. It has almost like a bluish tint to it on screen, but actually it is a black marker, so it blends pretty well with the water as you go around it. Getting ideas for art should reflect what medium you're using as well. I started this off with a very chaotic spraying of the ink, as you saw at the start of this video, and the following figures I'm making is trying to mirror that. And I often speak to my students about trying to synthesize both the work with the idea behind the work along with the medium you're using. And the way I'm using the ink is hopefully echoing the chaos that I'm trying to portray in this image. I think all of us like to think we have control in our everyday lives, but there's a lot of curveballs thrown our way and things happen. And that's also kind of indicative of making a water-based piece like this. I'm trying to control the water, but sometimes it works on its own. And that's hopefully what this is doing with this picture. There's an image of the ink I'm using, just a black India ink. I'm going back in to push some contrasting areas. The idea of synthesis is when everything you're making is coming together. So, and also it's kind of complementing one another, like the chaotic way I started this picture with the way the figures are seemingly out of control. So I'm trying to synthesize all those ideas to come together as I go towards the end of this image. Here I am trying to add shadow to the image around the figures, and hopefully that will bring some more interest to the background. Now here's a quick scan from the top of the drawing and painting down through the middle part into the bottom. So I like to give this overall view to show you what I've been working on here since the start of this clip. And you can see there's a lot of different ways the water has gathered in certain areas. Okay, here's a look at the pen I'm going to use next with the nib at the end. One of my favorite tools to use. So after I've used the brush, I'm going to go back in with some mark making, and I'm just bringing down little strokes that create a sense, hopefully, of movement, and also just to give a different alternative line. I like the sound the pen makes as it touches the surface and has that scratchy sound. Anyway, here I am working on the back leg of this initial character. Okay, just kind of finishing off here, adding the finishing touches, and I can do this forever, and there's always a time when you have to say I'm done, and only you can really know that, and it's often a difficult thing, but I try to pay attention as I go towards the end to see when I can finally say it's finished. And here's the final view of this chaotic image we started from start to finish. I hope to see you on the next time, and thanks for watching, everyone.